want to head over to right here in Michigan. Grand Blanc Township is actually pretty far from where we are, but I want to go to Grand Blanc and I want to go to North Carolina to give y'all an update on what is happening with all of these shootings. All right. So over the weekend, a shooter actually did the unthinkable, and I just couldn't imagine this happening, but a shooter did the unthinkable in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Let's get into it.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Hi, everybody. That breaking news continues from the Grand Blanc Township and now Burton areas just north of the Metro Detroit area. I'm going to step out of the way. I'm sure you've heard by now there was a mass shooting at the Church of the Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. 10 people were shot. 1 is dead. The shooter also shot and killed by police. What you're looking at right now is a map of where that church is, again, in the Grand Blanc Township area. There were people inside of the church when all of this happened. The suspect rammed his vehicle through the front doors of the church, got out, and then started shooting. You're now looking at video from the scene here. Again, 10 people were shot. 1 was shot and killed. 2 or 3 others are in critical condition. On top of the shooting, though, this suspect, a 40-year-old from Burton, also started a fire inside of the church. And unfortunately, we got an update from the Grand Blanc Township Police Chief. He said they are expecting to find
the entire church was engulfed in fire.
More victims of the shooting.
See that? It wasn't just okay, so let me tell y'all how this basically played out. Let me show you how demonic people are, okay? I seen Don Lemon, and Don Lemon is over there making jokes about it. Dear white people, what is wrong with you guys right now? They want to make this a racial thing. When tragedies strike and when things happen like this, right? Whether you're talking about the trans shooter that was over in Minneapolis, the guy that killed people in North Carolina, which we'll cover shortly, or this situation that happened in Grand Blanc, we have to remove the race part of it out of it temporarily when it first happens. We can go through and we can mine it out and try to figure out exactly what happened and how these things are playing out later, right? We can start doing all of that stuff later. But in the meantime, the first thing that you want to do is you want to pray for the families. You want to pray for the families, because what usually happens in these situations is that they target the most vulnerable amongst us. So that's why you see it happens at schools. That's why you see it happens at churches. And this is probably one of the worst stories that I've ever heard. Rammed his car, his vehicle, his truck, into the church. Started a fire to where it basically burned up the whole church. Apparently, there were people that did not make it out and that burned up inside of the church. As people ran out into the parking lot to their cars, he just indiscriminately started shooting and firing off on people to where he basically hit 10 people. This is an assault on spirituality, Christianity, and righteousness. This is demonic. Trump himself actually acknowledged that there was a persecution and an assault on Christians inside of the United States of America. And this is why they would target churches. They don't target police stations. They don't go over and start targeting military bunkers and stuff like that. They target churches, schools, and the most vulnerable amongst us. And this is why it's sad. It is. And we need to call it exactly what it is. Now, because there used to be places that were sacred. There used to be places that you just never mess with. People are brazen enough and they are disrespectful enough. And I believe that it truly is a spiritual war that's happening out here. We battle against principalities. Obviously, we're familiar with what happened with Charlie Kirk. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible.
And or of the fire once the investigators can get into areas of the church that they originally couldn't get into because that fire was ongoing. We did talk to the chief about what the next steps are, and that is getting a search warrant and getting into the victim's home. the suspect's home.
We have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information, statements that we have to obtain.
All right, now back out here
Agree.
live.
Somebody said, Black Rambo says, even with schools attacked, they are attacking Christian schools. Yeah, they're not just attacking random schools. They target Catholic schools, Christian schools. They target schools that are based in spirituality. It's not random. They're very intentional. Very, very intentional. And, the most disrespectful part of this is that they try to make it seem like, well, he had mental health, PTSD, former vet, all of this stuff. They like to try to make it seem like it's that, but it's something else. It's something else.
Actually, at the church, we are near the suspect's home. Now, we have confirmed through sources that there were IEDs found inside of the suspect's vehicle. And now here outside of the home, as they get that search warrant and a way to go inside, the Michigan State Police bomb squad has shown up. In fact, photographer Marty is behind the lens here. If we can zoom into the back of that truck, you can see a robot is now being offloaded. That'll be one of the tools that they will use to go inside of the suspect's home to see what's happening there. It is a very safe assumption that if explosives were found inside of the suspect's vehicle, then they could likely find the similar situation inside of the suspect's home. That's why you see the bomb squad out here. That's why you see that robot getting ready to go inside of the home. And as we pan our camera a little bit towards the right, you also see a SWAT vehicle, and they've attached a battering ram on the front of that vehicle. They'll likely use that to push open the door or a window or some other front entry point so they can gain access to the home and then send that robot inside. There is a lot happening, not only in the Grand Blanc Township area, Burton, but all throughout this area as well. This is on Atherton Street, which is in Burton. You can see that the Michigan State Police have shut this road down completely. It will be shut down like this for hours yet to come as they kind of meticulously and very, very slowly start to go through that suspect's home. But again, he is a 40-year-old that lives here in the city of Burton who used his vehicle to crash and drive through the front doors of the Church of the Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, which is right next door. It is a community right next here to Burton. Inside that church, during the shooting, 10 people were shot. One is dead, 2 are critically injured. The others, the police chief here said that they are in stable condition. Of note, when the 911 calls started coming in, we were told that 2 officers got there very quickly. One of them was a Grand Blanc Township deputy. The other one was a Michigan DNR officer. Both were armed and both what they call engaged the suspect, shooting and killing that suspect. So you've got a lot happening here. And again, the Michigan State Police getting ready to make entry into that suspect's home.
We need to start, at this point, it's going to start being a situation where people are arming themselves when they get to church. You're going to have to arm yourself in the sanctuary just to be able to go and worship God. Over in North Carolina, a gunman shot from a boat, killing, hitting, wounding people, shot from a boat, and then he lived to get arrested for it.
Let's jump over now to get more information on the mass shooting in North Carolina. You see CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry, who's been spending time there. Good morning, Skylar. Help us understand what happened in this shooting and why officials there are seemingly certain that it also was targeted and purposeful.
Yeah, that's what law enforcement said yesterday during a press conference, Errol. Breaking down a timeline as to what happened. Police say that they first got 911 calls shortly after 9 o'clock on Saturday night. It was then that folks who were here at American Fish Company say that shots started to ring out here, so much so that people started to hit the deck. They say that several people were hit, both outside and inside of this popular pub and concert venue where usually people would come out, enjoy some music, enjoy food and drinks as well. Then they say that everything happened so quickly, but they were able to get their eyes on a boat that actually left right across the way here from the dock here, and they say that it was the suspect, Nigel Edge, who was able to get away a little after 10 p.m. on Saturday night. Of note, police say that they were able to arrest Edge, the suspected shooter, in less than an hour as he tried to make his way back to where his residence is, a little bit further down in Oak Island. They say that this was a premeditated and targeted attack. He is due in front of a judge today. He's facing several charges, including 3 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 5 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. Something else to note here, Errol, is that the death penalty is something that is possible here in North Carolina. Prosecutors say that that is not off the table. We will see where that goes as they move forward. We spoke with a business owner, Todd Weaver, yesterday, who was here among the crowd. He says that he saw friends and also folks that he regularly sees when he comes to this venue go down with wounds, trying to help and trying to deal with what ultimately could be described as a chaotic situation. And he said that, he was heartbroken to see what happens to this regular spot that he comes to on a weekly, if not bi-weekly basis. But he says that he will continue to come back. Yesterday we were out here, a growing memorial, if you can see it right beside me. Teary-eyed members of this community were here to pay their respects, but they simply say that something like this has never happened here, and they hope that it never happens again.
I will tell you that first of all, prayers up for the families of the people that was killed over in North Carolina by these crazy people. But I will tell you this, that I am vigilant, very vigilant. Even when I went to the airport, right? And so I go into the lounge or whatever, and, I'm waiting for my flight, my plane. And so as a result, I'm sitting there and I'm making sure that, I'm getting my work done and I'm uploading things and everything like that. I'll pin the link to the Patreon right now. It's in the description of the video. But I'm sitting there and I'm working. And when I first got into the lounge, I made sure that, I sit with my back towards the door. And I scan the entire room. And I'm looking and I'm paying attention to the different things that's happening all around me. And it's not even that I'm fearful. It's just that I'm mindful because I have just always been conditioned. And again, I'm not sure if it's because of being in the hood or being from the hood or all of that stuff. But for my entire life, when I go in for whatever reason, I just can't sit with my back to the door. I just can't sit with my back to anything, right? And think about this for a second. Maybe this is a form of PTSD, right? Because when you go into the airport, you already went through TSA, you done already did all of that, you went through all of that, TSA pre-check and all of that stuff, right? It's no way for somebody to bring a gun into it, but I don't trust anybody. Not today. Not today. I am vigilant. I am on it. I don't sleep on that type of stuff at all. I am vigilant when it comes to making sure that I stay on top of that type of stuff. I'm not sleeping on it. I got to keep, and women, they are like they always, especially women that are with a man, right? If you with a man and, you could just rest and you chilling and all of this stuff, it's so much sweeter. I'm imagining that y'all live a incredible lifestyle or live an incredible life because y'all don't have to worry in the same way that we worry. But a lot of these independent women, a lot of women that like to travel by themselves, women that move a certain type of way and all of that stuff, you're going to have to be vigilant. You got to be aware. You got to be vigilant. All of that stuff. Even when you go to church, you got to start paying attention, looking around at people. You just don't know because people have lost their mind and they've lost complete respect for human life and human decency.